Hey, crypto heads, it's the Goose with the Cryptic Paranormal show. Super excited about our show tonight. Another amazing guest. We cannot wait to get started. But as per usual, right over here, Miss Denise Smith. Nice. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. How are you?
Doing well. Good.
Yeah.
Anything happen in Madison this week, or is it pretty slow?
It's very cold.
Yeah.
There's not much going on.
No ice walls.
No. I haven't been
That's
in
good.
there. There might be ice walls. I don't know.
Fingers crossed.
Right?
No ice walls.
I'll get a video this time instead of just pictures.
Okay, cool. Down there, Mr. Heisenberg, Michael Bradley. What's up, sir?
Not much. Living the dream.
Oh, yeah? Hanging out in the garage?
Balmy, Akron, Ohio.
Balmy. I heard you guys got a little bit more snow than we did just north of you.
Yeah.
How was the snow down there?
It was pretty deep. I had to use my snow blower for the second time in this year, which for the last 2 years I haven't used it at all.
Nice.
Yeah, right. I guess we lucked out. Stowe's got that force field around it. We got a little bit of the snow, but not too much. Nothing to really cry about. So I'm good.
We have a force field too, but it keeps the snow in Madison.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Bubble.
Here's like the snow vacuum up there.
Right?
Yeah.
But okay, cool guys. Well, good to see everybody. And our very special guest tonight, very special guest, is Mr. Johnny Hauser. How you doing, man?
Living it. I can't. I'm staring at this backdrop of the Axe house, and actually, you can just see my house in the corner, this gray one, and all the green grass, and it just looks so nice with leaves instead of just white everywhere.
We could take all our screens down and just look at that for 2 hours.
Right?
Yeah, and then on this side, where the barn is, you can see like a little rock patio, and that's all Martha's flowers she plants every year.
Okay.
So,
Jeez.
but she will always send me. She's like, go buy some nice poinsettias.
Here, Heisenberg for a second. Just a second, Heisenberg. You want to see the flowers?
He's done.
There we go.
Okay.
Wake up.
So she sends me to go buy flowers, which, like, I walk in, bearded, tattooed dude, like, where's your poinsettias at? I need some. It's totally humiliating for sure.
Nice.
Uh,
That's awesome. So, let's get to know you a little bit more. How did this all start for you? Was it the house first, and then you got into the paranormal, or were you like into the paranormal and found the house? How did that start?
I was into the paranormal and found the house, which I actually believe the house found me. As weird as that sounds. First it started with aliens and government conspiracies. I can remember when government conspiracies were laughed at. Now it's just like normal.
right.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for a government conspiracy that doesn't turn out to be true at this point.
Right.
But I was very much alien guy, and then it turned into cryptozoology.
Okay.
I can remember making Bigfoot tracks out of plywood and like tying them to my feet, and I would go clear out in the woods in the middle of nowhere and leave these Bigfoot tracks going. So I was like, nobody's going to see this at all. What am I doing? And then moved into a house where weird stuff started happening. So we moved, and the next 6 houses, weird stuff happened. And since then, I've gone back to those houses as an adult and did the knock on the door and the very awkward, hello, I used to live here. Anything weird happen?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking like nobody died in every single one of those houses. And
Right.
everyone that I knocked on the door, they're like, no, it's the most peaceful house we ever lived in.
Okay.
My first job was filling in graves at a cemetery.
Holy crap.
Just it was supposed to be weed whacking, but evidently
That's quite a jump.
yeah, it was. I think it was like hazing from the cemetery crew. It's weird, but it was like they would dig the holes with the backhoe and then just hand me the shovel to like fill in, which is very.
Okay.
I think I was 15 at that point. Not even probably legal to work, but they hired me. But anyway, years go by. I've just been into it all, and then I end up at the Axe Murder House. Become best friend. Well, I moved to Villisca, and every day I'd walk by the house and I'd just bug Darwin, who owned it, and just with questions. So I was very much into true crime as well.
Oh, okay.
And one day he goes, "Do you just want a job? You're here every day. I might as well pay you to do something." I'm like,
Nice.
yes, I absolutely do. Because all I wanted was the keys to the house to get in. You know, this was like before any of the shows had started coming. And I think he said, "I'll pay you like $5 a week." You know, back. I was like, I don't care. I just want the keys to the house.
Do whatever,
so then,
man.
yes. So then the gray house in the photo came open, and that was Mary Peckham's house. And I told Darwin, I was like, "Dude, you better latch onto that before somebody buys it and like is having parties and like revving their car all night long, like ruining the Axe Murder House thing." And it's historically tied. So he bought it and he's going to do a bed and breakfast. He goes, I'm so glad you're going to do the cooking and cleaning. I'm like, what? And he's laughing. Like, I just want you to move in. So looking back, it's like all this stuff happening. I become best friends with an 80-some-year-old dude. The house right next door opens up after 20-some years of person living there. I mean, it's just boom, 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 boom.
Wow.
Right.
That's awesome. This is like all fell together right in a row for you.
Yeah, and I was like my job for a long time was a musician. I was a traveling musician with this girl out of Nashville. And man, we tried and did music like label showcases in Nashville and nothing. Then I start this job and boom, I'm on like 3 TV shows within a month. And I'm not even trying at all. It's like, this is way easier.
That's awesome, man. So you found your gig, I guess, in a different sort of way.
Yeah. I'm just happy I've avoided a 9-to-5 job for as long as I have.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No shit. I wish I could find a situation like that. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Billy Gerber, what's up, y'all? We got a lot of people watching. We got John Ward in there. What's up, buddy? I saw Eddie in there. What's up, brother? Bunch of people. If you guys got any questions at any time, shoot them out. We will definitely do our best to get them over to Johnny and see what's going on in Villisca. So tell us about the house itself. And it's got a crazy sordid history. And I've seen so many different like perspectives. What's your perspective? What's your story to the house?
As far as what's haunting it or the history?
Let's start with the history.
Okay. Of course, bullet point version here. Like 1912. A family goes to a church service, comes home about 10 p.m.-ish with 2 girls named Ina and Lena Stillinger. It's a family of 6 with 2 overnight guests, making it 8. Next day, Mary Peckham, the neighbor, is up at 4 in the morning. By 8:30, she's like, something's wrong. Gets a relative to use his key on the front door. Rossmore was his name. He lights a match. This is overcast that morning. Walks into the downstairs bedroom, and there's Ina and Lena in that room. The authorities come down and find the Moores up. So you got 8 total, 6 kids, 2 adults, sadly. Everyone's in bed, just like they went to sleep, and that was it. As far as the crime scene, every mirror in the house was covered. There was food left at the table where this person ate afterwards. Raw bacon laying on the floor. The axe was JB's. It was taken from the shed. Mirrors, oil lamps at the edge of the beds, tops taken off, put under dressers. Cigarette butts, footprints, tons of crime scene, weird crime scene, all destroyed by half the town trampling through.
Yeah.
And the big one that a lot of people miss, because a lot of the TV shows focus on the same like 3 or 4 suspects. F.F. Jones, Andy Sawyer, Blackie Mansfield. Detectives question people for 5 years in this town. 5 years of gossip in a small town about a murder.
Right.
Everyone is a suspect. People are just making up their own stuff at 3 years in. So There's a lot of, oh man, so and so's weird. He did it, which went nowhere. But all the TV show suspects went nowhere as well. Nobody went anywhere.
Right.
Until a weird minister confessed to it, saying voices told him rise, Peter, slay and eat. Went for a walk. A shadow came out of the backyard, gave him an axe, said he walked in, voices told him to kill, and he killed everyone. Then he said he didn't. Then he said he worked for the Queen of England. Oh. Tried him for the death of Lena, hung jury. Ina, full acquittal. It's Iowa's oldest cold case at this point. We have no idea. No clue who did it.
Wow.
I knew the Queen of England was involved.
Yes. and this dude was super weird. George Kelly was his name. And he, the whole time he's inserting himself into the, he left that morning, came back 3 days later, and he's like, hey, everybody, I work for the Queen of England. Her Majesty sent me here to solve this. And the townsfolk are like, dude, you were just here. We know you. Like, you're a minister, you know? And so the whole time, anytime anyone's talking about it, he's right in the mix. 5'2", 120 pounds. The newspapers described him as his lips and ears were too big for his face, and he'd spit all over you when he talks to you.
Oh my god!
So you can imagine what this guy was like.
That's
I actually was saying the same thing, Robin.
What you say?
She wants to know if we've asked the spirits who killed them.
Everybody does. That's like the $1 million question. Every team. I've been there over 15 years, and every single team. Who killed you? And that's a great question because it leads me to an awesome answer.
Okay.
So I started keeping track of all the names people were getting, and every single team got different names.
Right.
Oh, we got Carl. It's like what? You know, and everybody's getting all these weird names. Well, I start going back through once a year, I'll go through the notes just to brush up, you know, in case I forget something.
Yeah.
All these hundreds of suspects for 5 years were all names people were getting via EVP. The guy who owns the shoe store, who got in a fight with JB over parking his horse and buggy in front of his shop once. He was a suspect for like an hour and quickly dismissed. His name comes out via EVP.
Wow.
So I'm like, whatever is in there is just messing with people.
Right. That's weird.
You know?
That's really weird. We had a good question here from Ashley Storm. What's up, Ashley? We love you.
Ashley.
Did I just take it down?
Yeah.
I'm not touching anything. I'm not touching anything. How do you feel about people calling what's in the house demonic? Because oftentimes teams label something in that house as such.
I believe if the house was demonic, there wouldn't be one person walking in that place without feeling it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think you have negative energy, which is quite different.
Right.
And you know, one of my good buddies, John Tinney, always told me, he's like, I've been hit, kicked, scratched, punched, and that's by my nieces and nephews. They're not demons. You know, like,
good point. That's a really good way to look at that.
That is a real good point.
I think I believe in that dark side is on. I mean, all we got to do is turn on the evening news to see evil.
Oh, sure.
But negative, and I think there's a lot of negative energy in that place. I mean, what happened was horrible, and it just left a fingerprint, just like prisons, insane asylums, concentration camps. Anything where horrible stuff happened, that negative energy stays. I mean, you walk into a room where someone had an argument, you feel it,
Right.
and that's just yelling, you know.
Right.
Like so, and I often wonder if something wasn't on the land before the murders even happened.
Yeah, true.
Because Reverend Kelly's talking about a shadow giving him an axe.
Right.
Nobody's talking about shadow figures in 1918. Like, I can remember when shadow figures were aliens, then interdimensional time travelers, and then now they're the spookiest of ghosts. You know, it's just always changing. But 1918, like, nobody's talking about that.
Right. I like Ashley.
Yeah.
You know, there was probably about 14 years ago, I had a team, and they were from down south somewhere. And they go, look, I got a picture of a winged demon from hell in the attic. I'm like, wow, a winged demon from hell?
Wow.
I got to see this. So they showed me the picture, and it was clearly a wasp mid-flight, which is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Photo. It's like,
It is
I'm pretty
definitely-
sure that's a wasp. They're like, no, it's a winged demon.
I mean, that's what I call them.
Yeah. On the
That's
literal
hilarious.
sense, maybe, you know.
So somebody asked a little bit earlier, what's been your craziest experience at the house?
The one that pops into my mind here lately is a Friday night, and overnight's canceled. I think it's because of the weather. So I thought, I have no life at all. So, look, I'm just going to go over to the house and fix some stuff. And it was about 8 or 9 o'clock at night. I lock the kitchen door so nobody walks in, and I'm upstairs trying to fix a bed in the kids' room, and I hear somebody walk in. I'm just like, come on, people, we're closed. And I'm like, well, obviously, idiot, they broke in. And I'm like, they don't know I'm up here. This is going to be awesome. So I hide in the kids' room closet, and the plan is to scare the crap out of this kid and just be like, why are you breaking in, man? If you want to see it that bad, I'll just show it to you. Like, you don't have to.
Right.
And they're walking around downstairs forever, it seemed like. Slowly start coming upstairs into the room I'm in. I'm like, here we go. I kick the door open, do the big blah. Nothing.
Oh.
Nothing.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was frozen. I could not talk. I could not move. Like I was just going, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've seen a lot scarier at other places and at the Axe House and stuff, but that got me because not one time during this whole transaction did I think it was a ghost.
Right.
It was like somebody broke in the house. It was that loud and that blatant and obvious. And I checked the whole house. Door was still locked. I watched the surveillance video. Nothing.
Oh my gosh.
Now imagine you probably scared that ghost half to death, man. They're probably
They're like, ah!
That makes you feel a little bit better.
Right?
One of
Mission accomplished.
One of the funniest
They were probably
things-
standing there like this too.
yeah, they're like,
Oh my god.
I think
One of
there's
the
a guy
funnier-
but I'm not sure.
One of the funnier things I've ever witnessed was like 2 weeks ago. The overnights stayed and they left. And then my daughter and her friends, like my daughter's so big into it, you know, she's 12 and they're like, Dad, can I go over to the Axe House? It's like, here's the keys, you know, go for it.
Wow.
And I go, I'm going to lock you in there so nobody just walks in, you know, just call
Sure.
me. I'm right next door. So I get a phone call. I'm like, Dad, somebody broke in the Axe House. I'm like, instead of just running over there, I'm like, are you sure? Did you lock the door? Come on. I'm like, just get over here. And so I go over to the Axe House and I see these two dudes run out the back door and they're like, oh, hell no, hell no. It was the overnights from the night before. They left their notebook in the house. So they came back to get it. They walk in, they hear little footsteps run across the upstairs and a door slam. So my daughter and her friend was terrified somebody broke in. These two guys are terrified that the ghosts are after them.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, we had a good laugh over that.
That is hysterical. Oh my
Who does
God.
that though? Like they didn't call you or message you or anything and say, "Hey, we forgot our notebook. We're coming back."
No,
They
I'm
they
pretty
deserve that.
relaxed with like, just throw the keys in this location whenever you leave. Don't worry about it. You know.
Yeah,
But
so funny.
that was great.
Oh, we had Hannah Crane asking how long or how does living so close to the house affect your own house?
Oh, Hannah. Hannah's a buddy of mine.
Yeah.
She's majorly.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
and it's okay. So, like the first day I moved in here, I woke up in the middle of the night and I had this dream that was like a bird's eye view, and you could see the ex house and the kids playing and the mom hanging up laundry and the dad walks out, kisses the wife, says, I'm going to work. And I wake up and out loud, I go, Mary Peckham knew more, and whose house I'm living in.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I never cared about her at all, but I was just obsessed with her. And then I did all this research. I'm thinking, okay, she died. Well, like 3 days later, they hauled her to Montana and she died in a home out there. And the reason of death on her, whatever, was nervous breakdown. It's like she knew more than what she was telling. And all those old ladies kept diaries back then. Maybe she wrote it down and stashed it in my house. So I'm sitting knocking on walls and I have no idea what I'm listening for. I've seen it in the movie once. And I'm looking under floorboards and don't find anything. So much stuff happens here. Like forks. We can't keep forks in the house. Like whenever we eat, it's me, my son, my daughter. That's it. And I make them sit at the table. We're going to put our phones down. We're actually going to talk.
Yeah.
And everything goes right back to the sink. All the forks are gone. So I'm like, what's happening with all these forks? Like, I went to a thrift store because I'm always looking for like art that's worth millions.
Yeah.
Aren't we all?
So I see this big bag of silverware, spoons, like 200 spoons of every shape and size that ever existed, 100 and some knives, 300 and some forks, like this huge bag. I'm like, I'm buying this. Halfway home, I'm like, some old lady probably died eating off of one of these or something. You know? So I wash them up. I put them all away. All the forks are gone. There's over 300 missing forks in my house.
What?
So now you open the door, spoons, knives, and a box of plastic forks because they just all. So I had another dream one night. Right out this door is like a hole in the ceiling that goes up into the attic. I had a dream that I lifted that up and all the forks were stuck into this inside of the attic ceiling. And I woke up and I'm like, that's where they are. But I haven't looked. I'm not looking. I'm not at all.
Go right now and look.
Because
Take
if
your
I
phone.
Flashlight up there, see if anything reflects.
if I look and the forks are there, one of two things is happening. A ghost
Diaries up there. Okay,
a ghost
go
is
ahead.
stealing my forks, or I'm doing it and I don't know I'm doing it. And that's some Norman Bates stuff that I want it all to do with. Another time my daughter texted me at 3 a.m. I don't know why she texted, but she's like, Dad, I'm stuck in the bathroom and I'm hearing humming and crying. I'm like, come on. So the door was jammed, but I think it's just the house swelling, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Next day, I'm like, I wonder what that was. I was like, I bet it was the overnights. So I get a hold of the overnights, and they were ghost hunters. Thank God, because they had everything labeled down to the time, the minute, everything they were doing. I love this field. And I was like, what were you guys doing at this time? And they go, oh, let me look. And they're going through the papers. Okay, we were in the attic doing an EVP session at that time. It's like, well, it wasn't them.
Yeah,
and then
fire.
they go, it was really weird because it's super active all night except for right then. So I thought, I wonder if the kids are there, if they ran over to Mary Peckham's house, because she was like a grandma to them. They all used to play in this house. Was that the humming and crying that they were hearing?
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
it's just an ongoing thing in this house. It's just
I really need to know
weird.
what's in your attic now, though.
I know. Right? Peer pressure.
Just put your laptop or whatever camera up there.
Right.
We'll look for you.
I crawled up there looking for the notebook, and I found an old like those 1920 radios, the tube radios.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I should plug this in because I guarantee it's going to be like voices from beyond on the
Right.
other side. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's probably going to catch my house on fire is what it's going to do.
I mean, don't leave it plugged in and leave, but if you just plug it in real quick.
But it's just a nonstop. There's so much at my house.
I wonder why forks, though. Like, I wonder if there's some significance.
No idea. No idea. That's why I'm like, I'm talking to my buddy. He's like, dude, if you're a ghost, you have the power of changing mankind's view of life after death, and you're stealing forks. Like, it's like,
Mankind's jacked up.
Well, maybe there's like a fork shortage in the afterlife.
There
I
could
don't know.
be. There could be. Absolutely. And
Oh my God.
I've
Maybe you have
contemplated.
mermaids.
I've contemplated who did it, and I've gone over to that house and I've asked who did it. I've asked who did it at this house, and
Right.
I just get the overwhelming sense every time I ask that of who the killer was that it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter at this point. I think there's a whole nother story besides the killer, who it was, that can be told from that place.
Oh, sure.
As far as the true crime and just a basic love each other, love your family, love your neighbors. I think that's the moral of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think it's a lot. I think it's the same with a lot of the places we go. Everybody goes initially and these locations get popular because of the horror stories that's attached to them. But I mean, these places are all so absorbed with history. There's so much more to it that people can explore and investigate. It's you can always focus on the negative. You're not going to get much more out of it than that, I guess.
Right.
And if you spend your entire life focused on that one bad thing that happened to you once,
yeah,
it's like you have a bad day. No, you didn't. You had a bad 2 seconds that you let dictate your entire day. I think and especially in the after, like I wish it never happened. I wish whoever did it was brought to justice and hung quickly.
Yeah,
but we don't know,
Right.
and we'll never know. So let's focus on the good.
Yeah, let's move on and try to figure out what else is going on over here. Because actually, Ashley brought a question up that kind of is correlating with that. She wanted to know if any of the Sioux, Iowa, Oreo, or did I say that right? Is it really Oreo? Sorry, Ashley, if I mispronounced that. Oreo, or Missouri's tribe settled in that particular area.
That was a nice little twist you put on the end.
Oreo.
Oreo. It's Oteo. It's not even
Oteo. All right.
This area was Sac and Fox, and Darwin always told me that they would bury their face down in shallow graves around here, so were doomed to walk the earth and not pass on to the other side. But I do know there's no Villiscas anywhere on the planet at all. This is the only Villisca on Earth. And there's a book. There's a book in the library called Iowa People, Places, and Names, and it says that the Sac and Fox named this area Waliska in the Meskwaki language, which translates to evil spirit. Now, the townspeople say it means the pretty place.
Well, that's a nice way to cover shit up.
Hey, you know what? Yeah, right.
So, me and a Travel Channel producer uncovered this at the library, and he goes, "This is a gold mine." And I'm like, okay. And he started the show with Villisca. The very name means Satan. I'm like, come on. Not quite.
Everybody just automatically goes there. If it's evil, it's got to be Satan.
But I will say,
Satan's henchman.
I will say, I spent so much time going through the old microfiche machine back when those were a thing. I'm going through the old newspapers, and I'm just looking and reading anything I can. And there for about a year, the drugstore, which is called Stoner Drug, which is great. Back then, it was called Honeyman Drug. And they made their own cold elixirs. And they had this repeating ad for their cold elixir that they made. Relieve, runny nose, blah, blah, blah. Take our elixir, 666. And I printed like 200 of these because I knew no one's going to believe me.
Right.
But that was the name of the cold elixir. So this whole town is just like Twin Peaks, man. No wonder I love it. No wonder I love it.
I think if I ever made it out there, I'd have to spend like several days just exploring the whole town.
Yeah.
Right.
First night, we're going to the bar, and then you can meet all the fun locals and
nice. Oh yeah. That's where you get the best stories.
Yeah, for sure.
Second night, we go to your house and see if the forks are up in the attic.
Yep.
You don't have to look. I'll go up there and look.
Okay. Sounds good.
I won't tell you what happened.
Okay.
I'll dust for prints if they match yours. I won't tell you.
You seriously have to know where these forks are now.
There's another thing with that little. As soon as we moved in, that hole, and it's like all white paint, and then there's a ledge about like this. I looked up there once. There's one single drop of it looks like blood, like 100% of blood, like a drop of blood, and it's still dried on there. I'm not going to ever go over it.
Yeah.
And I thought, what is that? Because it just appeared, and I thought, well, maybe it's rust from a pipe or something. I don't know. So I went up there, and when you lift that thing, it's about that much of insulation. There's no pipes or nails or anything around. It's just wood and stuffing. So one of these days I want to swab it just to see if it's actually blood.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Can you still use one of those UV lights on it if it's like old and dried?
Oh, I wonder. I bet so.
How long is it going to take me to get to your house? Because I need answers.
At least 10 hours.
Okay.
At least 10 hours.
See you in the morning.
A bunch of our team, like when we first started Dark Alley, a bunch of our team went out to Villisca. I unfortunately missed that trip, of course, but
I didn't go because I want to ride in the car with them.
Oh yeah. That's a long car ride with 6 people in one car.
Yeah.
I was like, no, thank you.
I don't think I could get off work, so
Maybe that's where we should do our show investigation.
Where at Villisca?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Oh.
Come on down.
Nice. We're on the way. Packing right now. I'm gonna go. Tori had a question. I'm gonna go back to that real quick.
Okay.
You think the spirits would feel any sense of peace even if they did find out who did it? I would like to think that they have been at peace all these years regardless.
This might upset some Axe House purists, but I don't think the family's even there, honestly, at all. I think that because I've done over 400 overnights alone in that house. Looked for patterns and birthdays, anniversaries, moon phases, storms, the eclipse, anything. I found no rhyme or reason. Every single night I've stayed there, it's almost like a different location. I've seen teams go in. One will be, we rolled ball with the kids and we had a great time. I felt one hug me. The next team is split out of there at 11 p.m. They won't even go get their gear. I have to mail it back to them.
Holy shit.
I'm like, how is this even the same place? I think that the Axe House is haunting itself. I think it's like rose red. And I think it's like it reflects back to you what you put into it. If you go in nice, you're going to get nice. If you go in with the come at me, bro thing, then good luck,
Right.
I mean, it's like when I first got here to now, it's not even the same place. It's morphed and changed, and I don't even think they're there. I hope not. And I had an ongoing thing. I'm like, if you can cross ghosts over, come do it.
Right.
We've had Catholic priests, Wiccan shamans, every possible whatever. Nothing happens. Doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Thought form entity. That's what Ashley said. Maybe.
What's that?
Thought form entity.
Yeah. I think something was there beforehand. In the 30s and 40s, they were doing seances in the house. That's always an awesome idea. I think every team that comes in probably has little things attached to them that hangs out for a while.
Right.
If you're a ghost walking down the street, you're going to be like, dude, this place is lit. Like, I'm going to hang out here for a while.
Right. I'm going to go down to the corner store, grab a sixer. I'll be right back.
Exactly. Because, I've never heard of ghosts being trapped in a location until Beetlejuice came out with the sandworm. Because let's just say somebody dies on the second story of this old house in the country and the house is tore down. Is there a ghost walking around 20 feet up in the air? And we know now that the earth is moving. So like that house is not where it was 100 years. The whole
Right.
world is not where it was 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
So that, in my mind, that just kind of throws out the stuck in one place.
Mhm.
Yeah. Or like
I
when
don't-
people talk about spirits being attached to like furniture and stuff. Like, so wouldn't that technically make like landfills the most haunted places ever? Because eventually, you know what I mean?
Right.
Eventually that furniture is going to get bad and it's going to get thrown away. So then,
Yeah.
according to the stuck theory, all of them should be at the landfill, right?
Man, I love my lazy boy. I'm sticking in that one.
Right?
Which, if you're ever on Amazon, there's a movie called Killer Sofa, which is
Oh, it sounds
it's
fantastic.
so great. But it's
Put that on my watch list.
I mean, I don't know. Nobody knows anything. Who knows?
Right.
You know.
Right.
But
You think
I
we'll
just,
ever know anything?
no, unless we have Abe Lincoln in a Harvard lab answering questions to scientists for 5 years.
Right.
But going back to Tinny, he's like, man, I hope it never becomes a science, because when it becomes a science, then it's taught in a school, then it's in a textbook, and we have to go by rules.
Mhm.
It's awesome to having weird people in weird places doing crazy things every
Right?
weekend. You know,
Yeah.
we'll know when we're dead, I suppose, but
Right.
Hopefully, but we don't even know that.
I always told Darwin. I told Darwin, he died and passed away in 2011. I'm like, man, when you pass away, you're gonna have to come tell me who the killer was. He's like, oh, I will. Nothing, not a thing.
He's retired.
I've never seen a ghost.
Is that when the fork started?
No, the fork started probably about 3 years ago, somewhere around in there. Oh, and the bit, I can't even believe I forgot this. So my daughter starts talking about Hattie. Hattie this, Hattie. She won't sleep in her room because Hattie scares her. So I'm like, who is Hattie? She goes, that's the woman who lives upstairs. Like, you're a creepy little kid, man. So when Darwin passed away, I started going over the deeds of the house, and Mary Peckham died 6 months later. The house went to her daughter, Hattie Peckham.
Oh.
Holy
So
crap.
years go by. I'm giving my son a bath, and he's in the tub. Bye, Dad. Bye, Grace. Like the only two names he knows. And he goes, bye, Hattie. And I go, what? And he looks up and he goes, bye, Hattie. He doesn't know that story. He's 2 years old at the time.
What?
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So
That's crazy.
I'm driving my daughter to school once, and she goes, Dad, you remember Hattie? I'm like, yeah. She goes, that was weird. I'm like, yep. I go, what do you remember? She goes, she would just stare at me when I was sleeping.
Oh.
So I drop her off, and I come home, and I'm ready to go Chuck Norris on some ghosts. Like, not happening.
Yeah.
I bust through the door, and it just hits me. It's like, if that's Hattie Peckham, she knew the Moore kids. They used to play here,
Sure.
She's probably just protecting my daughter, making sure it never happens again.
Oh,
Sure.
And right then, it just all changed for me.
yeah.
Like, these are just people,
Yeah. And
But-
especially people who have been through that kind of trauma, I'm sure they do want to watch out, especially for little girls,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it goes on. So last summer,
Kids are fucking creepy.
I
Sorry.
had a
Yeah, they are.
coworker working for me at the Axe House, so I could actually have a couple days off, and she texted me. She's like, some lady's here from Texas that said she lived in your house in the 80s, and unless you want some random strange in your house, like, just don't answer. So I'm like, oh, I don't care. So she knocks, and she's like, I used to live here when I was a little kid, and she had a picture of her in the house, matched it up to the windows when she was a baby. I'm like, wow. She said her grandma lived there, and there's a long pause. She goes, weird stuff used to happen here. I'm like, oh yeah? Like what? She's describing things that I've had happen. She goes, but it wasn't like scary. It was like an older woman. And I had a name for her. It started with an H. I'm like, whoa, okay. But then she goes, she would always come in and give me a back rub when I was sleeping in this particular room. So I'm like, I am sleeping in that room tonight, and I'm going to get a back rub from a ghost.
Oh yeah. Yeah, right
Yeah.
there. That's a spot right there.
Right?
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, it's a motherly thing to do, you know, it's a loving thing to do to walk in and just rub a kid's back while they're sleeping, but not when you've already passed on. Then the kid is not comforted by
No.
that.
No.
They're scared of it.
I brought it up to my daughter if it'd be okay if I married the ghost, and it could be like all our friends from school could be in the wedding. She's like, "Dad, stop! You're stupid."
Hey, it's a thing now. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
Yeah,
keep seeing different crazy stories in the news.
right? Trying to get pregnant
But
by
I
a
think that
ghost.
last ghost couple, I think that last lady divorced her ghost husband or something like that.
Oh,
The pirate,
already
right?
sure.
He was a ghost pirate.
yeah.
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 Oh.
He was always out plundering.
People are weird, man.
Getting booty.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, when aliens fly past Earth, they lock the doors and roll up the windows. I guarantee
Guaranteed.
it.
Guaranteed.
Like, click.
Yeah.
Roll them up.
Yep.
So how
So-
old are your kids now?
12 and 3.
Okay.
Quite the gap there.
And the
Yeah.
I have a 17, 9, and 7. So
Nice.
mine have a big gap too. But so your daughter's into it. Does
Mhm.
your son talk about seeing any more?
And I got an
Very-
older son, who's he's pretty into it. He actually went to school for film because of just growing up with every single network in our front yard. You know what I
Right.
mean? And then
Yeah.
he's since went and worked on some paranormal films. So it's like,
Oh, cool.
that's my boy. You know. My daughter's totally into it. Like, we went to Malvern Manor last week to meet up with some friends, and she was so excited just to go walk around. And then my son was just walking around with her. Like, they're totally going to be ghost hunters. Which, when I first went to a paranormal convention, my very first lecture I've ever seen, I'm sitting there and they're like, never, ever, ever let children investigate and never investigate alone.
Right.
Like, well, man, I screwed both of those rules up.
Right, that's all you do.
I'm like, what little kid in my generation never played with a Ouija board, never did
Right.
Bloody Mary, never went to a cemetery? Like, come on. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you rather teach them the right way as a kid instead of,
Right.
no, you cannot do that, because they're going to
Yeah.
do it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially
And
if you're telling them not to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
And then
And-
somebody's like, well, they could get hurt easily. I was like, I hope my daughter's not dumb enough to go walk on a floor that's obviously going to fall apart. You know,
Right.
Like,
Right.
I'm not going to let her go to an abandoned building by herself at that age, but yeah, come
Yeah.
with me.
Right.
Big deal.
And it's better that she goes with you and learns how to protect herself and how to, to make
Mhm.
sure she's not bringing anything home and whatever. Although it doesn't matter really at your house, but
Yeah.
but it's better than going with her friends who are going to be doing seances and Ouija boards and all that shit. Like, and they
Mhm.
don't know what they're doing.
Exactly.
It's fine.
I would never do Bloody Mary. That's the only one I would never do.
No, I wouldn't do that either.
I
Nope.
did it all the time.
Oh my God, we were at Fairfield just like a month ago, and Shelly joked around and started doing it in the mirror, and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing? Stop!" I'm 37 years old, and I'm like, "Don't do it."
I'm
Come on,
starting.
Kelly.
I'm starting to get over my Ouija board phobia
Yeah.
from my buddy Rick Schreck. Built the world's largest Ouija board,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
he's got like over 1,000 of them in his house. And he's like, I've never had anything happen. Like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe I can, because I think they're beautiful pieces of art. Honestly,
Oh yeah, absolutely,
I think
absolutely.
they're
Yeah.
cool looking. But I watched Witchboard when I was a kid, so
Mm.
yeah, that's what's going to happen to me. But how is that any different than walking into a house with a digital recorder
Right.
and saying, "Is anyone
Yeah.
here? Tell me your name." Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Either way, you're opening up a line of communication.
Mhm.
Right.
So it's it's the same thing. I guess people want to say because you're using your body, making a physical connection to the board
But
through the
that's no
planchette, but
different. That's no
No.
different than a pendulum or dowsing rod.
right.
That's the same thing. They're using your energy to move
Mhm.
those things. So
Yeah.
I mean,
and more than likely they're using our energy to build up to be able to speak to our digital recorders. We don't know.
Right.
It could be, who knows?
There's a reason people get paranormal hangover because you're getting your energy drained all night. So
yeah, for sure. And I went at Malvern Manor. I decided one night, let's do a seance. Like, I have no idea how to do a seance, so
I don't know about that one.
Let's just make it look like a seance. Because what I wanted to do was every time it'd be like, come walk past this REM pod and make the light go off and blah blah blah. How do they even know? Like, do they even know what I'm talking about?
Right.
So
they're like, what the fuck is a REM pod?
So I'm like, let's set up a seance because everybody knows what our intention is. If they see that, if they see us at a table with a candle holding hands, everyone knows that symbolism. I'm like, either nothing's going to happen or something's going to happen. And we just sat there holding hands, and it's like, yeah, your hands are really sweaty. This is weird. Like, how long are we going to do this? And stuff started, we didn't even say anything, and stuff started happening instantly.
Wow.
So, what that means, who knows?
As far as the seance, I mean, I've only had maybe 2 or 3 experiences with Ouija boards, because I'm still kind of, I mean, after just what I said, I'm still kind of like, I don't know about the boards. I don't know. And I feel if you're uncomfortable with it, don't do it. There's no reason to force yourself to do it.
Right.
But I did take part in, I think, Michael, you were there. We went to the Knickerbocker Hotel, and a friend of ours, Glenn White, a psychic medium, was doing a seance there, and he was actually going around. I think Tim Shaw was there too that night. And he's going around the table and reading people, and I'm like, okay, I'm not really sure about gallery readings. And at that point, I didn't really completely buy into the whole psychic medium thing. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I didn't know. It was earlier on, but he was nailing people like left and right. And he got to me, and he started explaining that this woman is telling you to stop and smell the roses. Don't work 100% of the time. Enjoy your family. Enjoy your life. And at that point in time, that's all I did was work. I mean, I was working night shift, working during the day, a part-time job. It was just so weird, just the energy we were feeling. And hold on a second. Something just popped up on my computer. Weird. Okay. And like right behind him is this dark mirror. It wasn't like a scrying mirror. It was just a mirror, and we were in the dark. And I saw between me and him, as he's reading me, a figure lean towards me, like trying to say something, and then back out of the mirror. And I'm like, oh, frick. Okay, this is real shit. The seance is the real deal. It's actually happening. And then I got confirmation right after. A friend of mine, Cassidy Nicholas, was there helping peg out with the event. And she pulled me aside while we were out having a cigarette break. She's like, dude, I totally saw a shadow figure standing next to you while he was reading you. I'm like, holy shit. So from that point on, that was the last seance I ever attended.
Yeah.
Not to say I wouldn't do it again, but it was enough for me to be like, wow, this is the real stuff. I really, you got to be careful. It's not something that I will ever perform unless I have a lot of practice. But the seance stuff, yeah, you're right. That stuff brings it out. I mean, there's a lot of energy. You got everybody's energy connected to each other.
Right. And like he was saying, I mean, people, how long have people been doing seances?
Oh, forever.
So, yeah. So when you sit at a table with candles, they're like, oh, I know what this is. No.
Yeah, Ashley brought up a good point too. She said spirit boxes are the same way. Any communication tool we use is opening a line of communication with the other side.
Exactly.
That's exactly it. Everybody's asking him, where's Mitch? I'm not sure what that's related to. Who's Mitch?
Oh, I thought I was going to get through a day without hearing that guy's name. So I have a podcast with Nick Groff, Chad Lindbergh, and Josh Hurd called G Crew.
Yeah.
And if you ever seen on Josh's cam, there's a little gray alien or a little green alien nailed to the wall behind him. That's Mitch.
Okay.
And this little, I mean, he's just foul mouthed, disgusting, always drunk, always like popping pills and doing drugs. And like we'll get on, he's half wasted and he just like spouts off horrible things. But he thinks he's the star of the show. So that's Mitch. And he's got a little Hawaiian shirt on. So
That's awesome.
he's like the friend that comes over and just walks in your front door without knocking and just doesn't even leave. Like stays forever.
Sounds like the Quagmire of the group.
Yeah, pretty much.
Giggity. Ashley Storm Mitch is the shit starter.
Yeah, bad. That's bad.
We need to get a Mitch on our show.
Yeah, for sure. You don't want that. You do not want that.
Anna said thinks he's the star. Sure, Johnny. We all know.
If you ask Mitch, he came up with the show. He came up with everything. Yeah. And if you're on Twitter, G Crew Mitch is his Twitter, but he'll like get on there and just rant on horrible things and like start fights with everybody, and it's bad. He's that guy.
Heisenberg is our Mitch.
Yeah, right. He sits there with that shit face eating grin on him and just interjects every time he's got something smart ass to say.
Yep.
He's quiet for most of the night, then he comes up with that one thing. Oh, that was good, Ashley. I like that.
Ashley's always good for a Heisenberg joke or two throughout the show.
Yeah.
So I know you own the house. You investigate the house constantly. Do you go? I mean, are you investigating other places? Are there other locations that you like to visit? Or
well, actually, Martha Lynn owns the house. She was Darwin's wife.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
I've just been the dude there since ever. You know,
Yeah.
I do everything, but yeah, I mean, I've been all over the country. You know, luckily enough, I hooked up with like Lee Kirkland, Jennifer Kirkland.
Yeah.
And so, like when Nick was at the house with Ghost Adventures, him and I clicked instantly. Shortly after, he's like, "Dude, you want to do Nick Groff tour with me?" Like, yes. You know,
Nice.
So a lot of the places I've been were with Nick, which is great because I love the tours, the beforehand tour. You know, where it's just staff and you.
Yeah.
And whenever you're with Nick, you get the extra special, super deluxe tour of places that nobody else gets to see. Like if it's just me, they wouldn't show me this spot, you know.
Yeah.
And then for a long time I did residential cases with people in their homes. Not just I got too busy to be able to keep up with the aftercare of all that, you know. And then I did some stuff with the Kling brothers for a while down in Texas, and just, you know, when I was a little kid in school, I was doing have you ever seen Napoleon Dynamite?
Of course.
Yeah.
God.
So when he's doing the essay about Loch Ness Monster, and he's like, and Nessie, that was me in 7th grade. I did an essay on Loch Ness Monster. And all the kids were laughing at me as I'm up there reading it in my sweat. I was wearing sweatpants with cowboy boots with the sweatpants tucked into my.
That's amazing.
And I'm reading it and my hands are shaking. The teacher stops me. She goes, "Just stop. You're never ever going to make a living or do anything with all this hubbubaloo," or whatever she called it. And that popped into my mind on a plane ride back from Ohio State Reformatory for a Nick event. I'm just like, screw you, teacher. I did too.
Right?
You know?
Yeah.
You should write her a strongly worded letter and let her know. I fucking made a living off of it.
Yeah, I've talked to her since and kind of bragged a little bit. "Oh, you saw me on what show? Huh, weird.
Weird.
What have you been up to?" "Oh, looks like you're at this bar drunk every Friday night."
Got to get back to my hullabaloo. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Have a good night.
Exactly. So anytime I have, like, the Axe House does a lot of before tours start of like colleges, schools. I mean, we do like Supreme Court judges for continuing education class, stuff like that. And every school I get in there, I end it with like that story. I'm like,
yeah, you
can do whatever you want to do because we live in this country that allows you to do whatever you want to do. So, you know, don't let someone in a suit and tie tell you what you can and cannot do at all.
Well, I'm 43, and I think I've almost learned that lesson. I don't know yet. Haven't quite made the plan on how to raise a family and keep my house on that plan.
I just got to figure out the getting paid part of it, but other than that, I've nailed it.
Nailing it.
I nailed it.
Secret James, hi everyone from Emerald Paranormal in Ireland. Very nice.
Nice.
What is up? So I'm kind of interested. You at the beginning when you're kind of giving the background about your paranormal experience, you said you were into researching cryptids.
Mm-hmm.
How was that your first area of research when you got into this? And how deep into it did you get?
Oh, deep. I was a dork. I was a nerd when I was a little kid. Honestly, like it's a wonder I've ever kissed a girl in my life. Really, So it all started with me laying on the floor Saturday morning watching my cartoons, and this commercial comes on. Mysteries of the Unexplained, Time Life, these book series. And this guy bends a wire coat hanger in the shape of an Egyptian hieroglyph and points it at Stonehenge, and he gets shocked. And I'm just like, what is this? So I begged my mom and dad to order me this book series, and that started all of it for sure.
Nice.
And it had everything from cryptids to just any weird anything, all of paranormal, not just ghosts, you know.
Yeah.
The whole cryptid thing started with I saw a mountain lion in Iowa, and back then there are not no mountain lions in Iowa, but I've seen it.
Right.
And come to find out, DNR was bringing mountain lions into Iowa to control the deer population. That was a thing, but they denied it forever.
Yeah. So
that turned into, I know I've seen it. What else is out here in these woods? What's going on in these here woods? Which, I can remember Unsolved Mysteries during Halloween. Yeah. Somebody recorded a Bigfoot howling from the highway on like their cassette deck or whatever, and they played it, and it's just like, whoa, And then Harry and the Hendersons came out.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wanted to be that jerk dude in the green army coat that was hunting Harry. I wanted to be that guy, So that's what
was the best. That was the best cryptid documentary.
Yeah. I watched the movie and read the book.
I didn't even know there was a book.
I didn't know there was a book either.
Yep.
See? Eisenberg out nerded you.
I'm a big nerd.
That went into Loch Ness Monster directly afterwards to just down the rabbit hole to all of it. Which I'd look at Bigfoot as an animal. That's how I have friends that believe Bigfoot is a time traveling alien that levitates. I love these people. I love these theories. I live for it, But I personally believe that the idea of an unknown mammal in North America is so far out there. Come on. Right. We don't even know what's in the oceans.
Right.
You walk and, nobody's found a Bigfoot. Well, it takes like 2 weeks for a Congo elephant to fully decompose. Like all the bugs eat the bones and animals, scavengers. Right. If you find a bone, you're going to find a little tiny bone in the middle of the woods and go, that's from a Bigfoot. No, you're not even going to question it. Right. And I've spent enough time hunting in Iowa to know as soon as you go into those woods and you start crackling on twigs and everything else, every animal in those woods are gone, long gone.
Oh, yeah.
And if anybody that does hunt, I do a lot of bow hunting where, you're scent blocked and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like you sit down and then within about an hour, the woods just come alive. Yeah. Once they know that it's safe, it's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
It's a great feeling getting out there right before sunup. And then
as
soon as it starts creeping up, you're in your spot. You're already quiet. Just seeing everything come. Yeah. It's awesome.
So, blasting gorilla calls through a megaphone and like, man, those animals are like, we gone. We're out of here.
Yeah.
And it goes back to nobody believed me that I saw a mountain lion, but I did.
Right.
Yeah.
But nobody's seen it.
Right.
Like, do you go in the woods looking? Yeah, it's just the people that I don't believe in ghosts. Once you're dead. That's it. Oh, really?
Right.
Who
Right.
told you? How do you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
do you spend years going to haunted places researching this, or someone told you that?
Right.
You know?
Because the Bible tells me so.
And I'll get a lot of I don't believe in that mumbo jumbo, but this happened to me once.
Yeah,
Right.
right. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I don't buy much stock in the haunted house thing, but let me tell you about this house that I grew up in.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, I don't know. Right. I don't know what it is, but it's not normal. So
Yeah.
it's paranormal then?
No. Ew. Yeah, we don't know anything. I mean, like
Right.
scientists don't know why cats meow. They know how they meow, but they just don't know why they meow. So if we can't figure that out, how are we going to? You know, it's like,
Yeah.
okay.
I love how you saw like a mountain lion and wanted to just like to go discover more. I'd be like, if I saw a mountain lion, I'd be like, I'm not going in those fucking woods.
Yeah.
Well, I was coming over a hill, and I've always lived out in the country and stuff. And I come over this hill, and I see a rabbit run by my car. Right behind it's a mountain lion. I'm like, it's like, whoa, what was that? So it was just one of those right place, right time.
See,
Yeah.
You know?
and if the government's trying to hide mountain lions, like of course they're going to try to hide other things too.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Ohio. The ODNR, they brought in the coyote
Mhm.
as the natural predator of to thin the deer population.
Mhm.
And now, I mean, look what's happened. They're in our suburbs and our cities, killing and mating with our dogs,
Right.
you know, and
Yeah.
killing our cats. And the deer population, sorry, but it's still exploding. It's still
Right.
huge, and we're still having issues. But
And I absolutely
they cover that
love,
up.
like I've talked to, and I like, don't get me wrong, I love this field. I love everybody in this field. I love the most outlandish stories. I want to hear it, you know. But I talked to a person who said that Bigfoot lives in their backyard because they put peanut butter out every night and it's gone the next morning. It's like, oh, okay. You know, there's other animals in those woods.
No, only just Bigfoot.
But my dad. Oh,
A
my
little
dad,
known fact about Bigfoot.
Peanut butter sandwich at like midnight. Like, oh, there's free peanut butter. I'm gonna.
I just had this mental vision of a Bigfoot knocking at my back door, handing me a bottle of Jif and saying, "No, I'm sorry, man. Next time, could you leave out some Skippy?"
yeah. Trying to watch my figure.
Right.
My parents live down in Arkansas, and Dad tells me every time I see him, they got 40 acres of woods down in the Ozarks. Like, yeah, I got about 4 or 5 squatches in my woods. It's like, I think my dad's seen more Sasquatches than anyone alive, and I love it. And I hope when I'm that age, I see that many Sasquatches, and it's probably true. He probably is seeing them, and I'm just like, yeah.
All right, Dad.
Watching some of the Bigfoot shows, it's hilarious to me that they know the difference in height between a male and a female, and you just it's like how do you know? We haven't actually seen the creature. Like,
Yeah.
people have had experiences and have seen what they thought were the creature. Some have taken videos. I don't know if you buy any stock into the videos that people put out, but how do you tell me the difference between a male and a female size when we don't know?
Yeah.
Right.
We don't have a skeleton. We don't have any remains to prove that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Plus, what if it's a
deep in my
male
heart, I
and
believe.
like, yeah.
Like, I've never seen a ghost. I've never seen a cryptid. The only thing I've actually ever seen in my life is a UFO, for sure. And at this point in the game, can we just agree that aliens exist?
Thank
Like
you.
the ever expanding cosmos of infinite
Heisenberg, cover your ears.
billions upon billions upon billions of habitable planets, and we are it.
Right?
if-
That's so naive to think that.
He got
Needs to take a break.
Scared of aliens. We can't talk about it in front of them.
However, if you're right and there are no aliens, how special does that make us? And how badly are we screwing it up?
Right.
You know?
Right.
That's
Right.
true. That's true. Yeah, I think it's so naive to look up at the stars and realize that every single one of those is a sun with planets. And you
Mhm.
really think that we are the only planet that can sustain life. Like, okay, maybe they don't come here and, abduct cows and give people anal probes and whatever. Like maybe there's that part. That part might not be true. But to think
Yeah.
that there's not aliens at all is just honestly asinine.
Why would they want to come here? Is kind of my question.
Exactly.
Like, if
Exactly.
you
I don't even want to be here.
if you go outside and you see
Divine
ants,
comedy.
if you go outside and you see a big ant pile and you just kind of look down, and you're like, oh, cool, and then you're on your way. Like you're
Yeah.
not going to sit there and talk to those ants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If there's an
You're not going to
alien-
try to invade them and deplete all of their resources.
No. if alien technology is so far beyond us, they found a way to traverse time and space, probably through a black hole. They're going to come, like talking to us would be like going across the street and talking to a chicken. I mean,
Yeah.
But what's getting me is this slow release of all the UFO papers. Back during lockdown, they signed a thing that the government will start releasing everything they know about UFOs. They still have a UFO thing within the Pentagon or Department of Defense researching. All these pilots are now releasing what they like. That's not accidental. Like nothing within that media just gets leaked out. It's on purpose.
Right.
They're setting us up for something. I truly believe that.
And isn't it crazy how all of that just kind of like nobody even talked about it?
Yeah.
Like it was like, oh, by the way, people are seeing UFOs.
Yeah.
And then it was like in other news, like that's not important. They just like brushed over it. I'm like, okay, all right.
And then
not important.
I believe it was the Pentagon during lockdown said something about having an off-world vehicle not from this planet. Nobody cared because Tiger King was on.
Right.
Like, cool.
Yeah.
Like this stuff is getting let out, and like Mexican governments or their governments are like full on saying it's real. But we're the country that's like, yeah. Ooh.
And I've always kind of wondered, as fast as technology progresses in our society, they got to be stockpiling something. You know what I mean? They got to be learning from something else for just to be that fast.
Oh, that's
So-
Like constant upgrading.
From the dawn of time, when man first appeared on this planet, to like 100 years ago, we came up with kind of crude automobiles, wagons, and then from like the 40s to now, we have fiber optics, and like it made a huge leap. Truly reverse engineering, probably from like Roswell.
Yeah, it is crazy. Even just my kids, the 7 and 9-year-old, think that there was no TV when I was young. Just because like I'll tell them stories and they think that I lived in this like caveman time, because of the things that we didn't have. I'm like, we didn't have cell phones, like that's crazy to them.
Yeah.
Like there's kids their age that have cell phones and like we grew up without them. That's weird to them.
I think if they are coming here, because you look at the most UFOs reported have always been around nuclear weapon scares, and like I believe if they are coming, they're probably like, dudes, stop, because if you mess around with all this and like destroy your planet, that affects everything in the cosmos. You're not just screwing your own backyard up.
Right.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Sorry.
Darren says, with all our technology, don't you think we would have definitely found the truth on Bigfoot? I mean, I'm sure if it was there, we'd have proof by now.
I think that scientists are still finding animals, thousands of them yearly, that we never knew existed. So,
or some that we thought were extinct and still exist.
Yeah, I think we need to. Well, nobody goes out really looking
Right.
You know, because that's just frowned upon in the scientific world. But I also think scientists really think they know everything when we don't know anything. I mean, let's be real. We don't have a clue what's going on this planet.
Right.
We don't even know what's in half the oceans. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
We have no clue what's down there. Maybe Bigfoot's living in the oceans because it's a Bigfoot mermaid. Bigfoot. I'm going to start a new conspiracy.
It's a big fin. It's a big fin.
Mike's looking like he's feeling a little agitated down there. He's like, I only want to talk about ghosts. I don't want to talk about Bigfoot and aliens.
Fine. Just watch guys.
We can get into the government are all reptilians that run a pedophile ring out of a pizza parlor if you want to go. Or one of my favorite conspiracies is that the Beatles never existed. That's one of my favorite.
Like it's not a movie like that.
Yeah, there is a movie like that. I don't like that.
Yeah, it was like, wasn't it some dude that was singing a Beatles song to his girlfriend, and all of a sudden, it didn't exist?
Yeah.
Songs.
And nobody had heard of him, and so he started singing all their songs and became super famous.
Yeah.
So I'm big into true crime, so I thought, well, I'm going to delve into Manson, and so I thought, okay, let's listen to the White Album and just see where his headspace was with the songs that prompted him that there's going to be a race war and he's going to hide in the desert in a hole and come out and run the world. And I realized an epiphany while I was listening to the White Album. The Beatles are really good. That was my I was talking to my buddy. It's like, the Beatles were good. He's like, yeah. Captain Obvious.
Like, there was a reason the ladies were, fainting when they would play.
Right.
I can talk about the Beatles all night.
Hannah. So
Bungalow Bill.
Right when I started listening to it, the continuing saga Bungalow Bill was playing. That song has been stuck in my head for weeks. I'll be doing anything and it's like, hey, Bungalow Bill, what did you feel? All the time. I cannot get it out at all. Luckily, that wasn't one of Manson's songs, so I'm just like, whew, okay. I'm not being influenced here.
What else did you figure out about Manson? Or just that the Beatles were good?
Manson's been one of those guys that I've just been into from day one. And not because it's just, the dude didn't kill anyone. And he's in jail forever because, and I think the reason I'm kind of fascinated by him is because pop culture painted him as the face of crazy, but which he, egged on with everything in his fiber. He played that role in interviews. He's like, I'm whatever you want me to be. You want me to be the boogeyman? I'm the boogeyman. You want me to be this? I'm this. And but he's a pretty good songwriter. Has a couple albums out, and so that's as far as I kind of went down the Manson hole.
Well,
Ashley wants to know, does he really think Manson ordered the murders, or do you think the followers went off book and he just took the rap?
I think he probably did. I think he was ticked off that he didn't get a record deal. And the guy who he was working with to get this record deal used to live in that house that the Tate LaBianca murders went on in. But he wasn't like a hippie, he was like the beatnik generation. And I think that he just kind of fell into this hippie commune thing and was like, cool, if I give these guys drugs, they're going to believe I'm whatever and I can take advantage of them. I think he's just a manipulative dirtbag that persuaded these hippies. And he's probably like, well, he did say, go kill them and make it witchy, leave something witchy at the scene.
Yeah.
But he never had a chance either. His mom was a prostitute. He was raised himself basically in and out of group homes his whole life. I mean, what do you expect's going to happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in Ohio, I think. For a while.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, the Cincinnati area, I think.
Oh,
Okay.
Mhm.
but then I'm like, so how does Manson have all these girls want to marry him, and here I am, like, hey, like, am I doing something wrong here? What's going on?
Was it the
Start a
sweater
commune, man.
I got to be a better catch than Charlie Manson, right? Like, maybe, I don't know. And imagine being that girl's dad. Like, Dad, I met a great guy today. Oh, what's his name? Charlie Manson.
He's so great.
I'm so proud.
Gotta get the
Gotta get the
crazy
crazy eyes.
Right. Manson.
Oh, quackers. That's a sad. You had to bring that up, Ron. So quackers was Ron's duck that killed himself, and
Suicidal.
yeah. Ron's told me this story many times. Let me see if I can remember every detail. So he drove by Waverly once, and he believes a ghost from Waverly has possessed his duck because he stuck his head underwater like a swan does, but didn't come back up and drowned. So
What?
that's quackers. You're going to have them on to talk about quackers.
Okay, first of all, it's a real duck, right?
What's that?
It's a real duck, right?
Yes. Ron's real duck quackers drowned himself. I'm not laughing, Ron. I'm
Why
crying.
are you laughing?
I'm crying. Man, we're nailing it all tonight, guys.
Let's have a moment of silence for Quack.
I
Yes,
feel bad.
moment of silence for
Moment of
Quacker.
silence.
I actually married Ron, and I was going to have a moment of silence for quackers, but like keep it going for a long, uncomfortable amount of time. Like
Right.
45
Like about
minutes.
25 minutes into it, I'm like, okay.
I didn't do it, but I should have.
Oh god. That would have been amazing.
So, are there any other? Did you just basically look at people who were considered serial killers when you're researching true crime, or is it just all encompassing, all kinds of different conspiracy theories and stuff like that too?
So my favorite movie of all time is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original 1974. And I watched that when I was like 8 or 9. So this is a cool thing about my parents. Like 7 years old, can I watch The Exorcist? Yep.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Like I was probably 10 years old watching the old Faces of Death movies, and my mom and dad didn't care. They're like,
oh yeah, those were crazy. The Faces of Death.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Totally. And that shaped the weirdo that I am today. But it's like I found out Texas Chainsaw Massacre is based off of Ed Gein. It's like, who's this Ed Gein guy?
Oh,
And from there, it
nasty
just
fella.
I become obsessed with them, not in a way of serial killers are cool, but it's just like,
yeah,
what possesses a man to dig up his mom's corpse, put it in the house, wear a necklace of nipples, eat out of a skull of a human, wear dead skin masks around? Like, how does a person get to that point? You know?
Yeah.
And at what point do they go, something's not right?
Yeah.
You know? So I read A Child Called It by David Peltzer, I believe. And he was horribly abused as a child, like locked in a cage, beaten. Everything you can imagine he went through. He's fine. So what is it that makes a person go the opposite way?
right.
Nature, nurture, society, upbringing. I mean, this kid was beaten, cigarettes put out on him, locked in a cage his whole life. His parents hated him. He's good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But then you get this little rich kid living in the suburbs that thinks he's going to go shoot up a mall or something. You know?
Yeah.
I just don't get it. And that's
Right.
humans fascinate me, I guess.
Yeah.
Human
Yeah.
mind.
It is.
Yeah, they do. It's just like, do they just have that gene that flips a switch at some point?
Yeah.
And they just are born psychopathic, or some whatever. It's interesting to think about. You get too deep into that rabbit hole though sometimes, and you're just like, I gotta back away from it for a minute. But
Absolutely.
one of my favorite shows, and it's on Netflix. It's called Mindhunter. I love that show.
Yeah, that's a
It's
good
kind
one.
of loosely based on the startup of the behavioral unit of the FBI. And Ed Kemper, man, there's something about that dude. I would love to interview him myself. I'd love to have him on the show and interview him, because the guy is just like so laid back and just so very like polite. Like, you talk to him, would never think he did what he did, and he was a sick MFer. I mean, the things that he did, the women that he killed, and what he did to their heads after that.
Was he the BTK killer? Was that?
No, he was Ed Kemper. Basically, he started murdering women while he was in college. He got off on the fact that he knew so much about criminal crime scene investigation that he could figure out how to trick the cops. He had a woman's body, or a bag of women's heads, in his trunk, and he got pulled over. And he had a Magnum 45, and he still talked his way out of it.
Wow.
Like, they didn't even search his car. I mean, this guy was the co-ed killer. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, the things that he did to like these women's heads, I mean, it was gross. I mean, without getting too detailed. But you talk to him and he's narrating books on tape, because his voice is actually soothing to listen to. So you can almost imagine how, like, talking to a complete stranger, you would feel comfortable with him.
Yeah.
Right.
And the funny thing is he gave himself up. He turned himself in.
Huh. He's just like, tired of.
Yeah.
He wanted the recognition from all of that, probably.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
he probably figured, he's like, I tricked the cops. I might as well just, he's probably got tired of it, maybe.
Yeah. Like,
yeah, Corey's right. He hung with the cops. He was friends with the cops. But I think Mindhunter, though, you were talking about the BTK killer. At least in the first couple of seasons, you see, while they're investigating and interviewing other serial killers that are already incarcerated, you kind of see the BTK story begin. And some of the certain different investigations they go to are victims of the BTK killer.
Wow.
So it's like they're kind of leading up to how they, I guess, capture it. But season 3 hasn't come out, and I don't know if it's going to, and it better, because I'll have a fit. It's like,
come on.
Yeah. Ashley's right,
buried a head in flower garden.
Yeah.
I like how Ashley's like, I gotta go, and then she's like, wait,
Right.
you're talking serial killer?
Like, oh, serial killers?
Like, okay.
But that actually kind of leads into a different topic, kind of going back into the ghost hunting thing. And Mike and I have touched base on this story, like this thought process before. Do you think somebody who's evil and does these kind of things in life, do you think they're still evil in spirit? Do you think that continues, or do you think that goes away? Because we were talking about that on a show a long time ago, like when we first started.
Yeah.
Part of me says yeah, but then part of me is just like, all the stuff that made them evil in life were probably people being treated bad, not paid attention to, the gamut. That's not, I'd like to believe that's not there in the afterlife.
Yeah.
Like when Darwin passed away, I was super upset. I mean, that dude was like my best friend,
Right.
And I fell asleep and I had the dream again, but he came in my dream. Him and Mary Peckham came to me, and he said, I had to bring Mary because I'm a new soul and I don't know how to do this. And he just said, ghosts aren't mean or angry. What do they have to be mean or angry about? And I woke up and it was like, yeah, like, well, what do they have to be ticked off about? They have to go to work and they got to pay bills,
Right.
Like, I would like to believe, but part of me is like, what they were in life, they are. I don't know. I could go either way on that one.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes, sometimes you go into like a location and they have maybe not someone that's mean, but somebody that's very controlling. Maybe it was like a caretaker or a warden or somebody, who was used to being in control.
Mhm.
And maybe you have people coming in, moving stuff around. You have these
Right.
paranormal investigators come in and they're saying stupid shit with their dumb toys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe they do get angry about that, but
Yeah.
I think you're right. They're not getting foreclosed on their mortgage. They don't, their wife
Yeah.
didn't cheat on them. Like I don't know what they would have to be angry about, but maybe annoyed.
And even like one of the most evil people that ever lived on the planet, who knows? Saddam Hussein, let's say, even he had good days. He wasn't
Yeah.
Yeah.
ticked off all the time. I don't know, obviously, but I'd
Right.
like to think that he had fun sometimes and smiled and laughed. But
Right.
I don't know, man. That's just one of the questions that maybe we can start focusing on when we investigate. Like, hey, everybody says you're a jerk, but
Right.
you have good days. I
Yeah,
don't know.
right.
Right.
What makes you happy?
Right.
My friend
Where's your
Ron
happy
with
place?
my friend Ron with Quackers there. He's my favorite investigator because when I first watched him investigate, he would walk in, sit down, and just be like, "Hey guys, I had a bad day. You ever had bad days? Can I tell you about it?" And just like having a conversation. It's like,
That's
Yeah.
that's
awesome.
cool. That's
Yeah.
a cool twist on it instead of give me a sign of your presence and make
Right?
a
Yeah.
noise.
What
Which
year is it? What's your favorite color? Can you slam that door? Yeah.
and my favorite is, what year is it? What's your favorite color? Can you slam the door? What's your name? What? Just boom, 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 boom. It's like,
Right?
dude,
Yeah.
I'm alive and my head's swimming
I
already.
can't even answer you that quickly. Like, calm the fuck down for a minute.
Yeah. It's like sometimes when I've guided public ghost hunts and we're doing EVP session, I'll ask one question.
Mhm.
And people just kind of stare at you like, okay, I'm like, you got to give them time to think about it and
Right?
answer.
Jeez. And
I mean,
muster up the energy to answer you from a different dimension. Calm
Yeah.
down.
Right.
What I like doing is thinking questions because
Yes.
voices are just vibrations that resonate on your eardrums and make a voice. Like, do
Yeah.
ghosts have eardrums? Do they have vocal cords?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we think a question and get an answer?
I think
Sure.
we can.
Yeah. But I did a experiment with the Constantinos. We had like 10 digital recorders, same make and model, the exact same settings, the same batteries out of the same pack, same everything lined up side by side, touching each other. 3 of them would get an EVP where the rest wouldn't. Like, how does that happen?
Wow.
I think they
Would it
can
be the same EVP or different?
It'd be the same EVP.
Okay.
Wow.
But the other that was right next to it wouldn't have it on there.
Right.
So that got me thinking, like, are we all on this? We're all on our individual journeys through life, You remember those choose your own adventure books?
Oh my God,
Yeah.
I just read one of those today.
So you're on your adventure. I'm on my adventure. I'm looking for my answers. You're looking for your answers. I've been in locations with people I trust with my life. And the dude's like, "You're not hearing this? Dude, did you not just see that?" I'm like,
Yeah.
Nothing, man. Like, I'm not having anything. Can they pinpoint, like, tonight's that dude's night?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
what happened at this place and what's going to affect him at this place doesn't involve his journey. It involves his journey. Is it all like that?
Right.
Yeah. I always kind of thought that it was like if it happens, it was meant to be, and there's a reason.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's not just because you're asking a question. It's because whatever reason that night, that time, that spirit wanted to reach out and touch somebody or talk to somebody, and just happened for whatever reason they picked you, and it was just the right time.
Right.
I've seen people at the Axe House go in, "I command you, tell me who did it." Like, you command them? Like, what are
Right.
you gonna,
How does that work for you?
what are you going to do if they don't?
Right. You're grounded, mister. You
command
didn't
it.
tell me.
Tell me right now.
Get out of here.
Have you ever had kick anybody out for being idiotic in the house?
Yeah, and I love it. I love every second. I am a big fan of awkward situations. Confronting people, I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm sitting in there, and the Axe Murder House, the day tours all year long are just cool, good people. Come the month of October, yeah boy. So this dude walks in for a day tour at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday, dressed as a clown. And by and this is like the end of our season. So by this point, I'm just like over it, kind of. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
And they walk in, they go, "Where's all the blood? I wanted to see blood. This is stupid." And I unloaded on this dude. I'm like, the blood. I go, 1 is 100 years ago. I go, 2, 6 little kids were murdered in this house.
Right.
Do you think that's cool or funny?
Yeah.
Like, do you go to Auschwitz and say things like, who is your, and I just like went off hardcore.
Good for you.
Kicked them out, you know, which Martha, who owns it's just like probably worse than me with that.
Yeah.
She's a little firecracker, man. You don't want to get on her bad side. She'll tell you where to go instantly. But it's just like, come on, man. 6 kids were murdered. You're not going to come in here and make fun of it. Like,
right.
Oh, Turtle Man.
Hannah didn't a turtle. He had some crazy stories.
Hannah's, thanks for joining, Hannah, because she keeps bringing up all the good stuff.
So I'm sitting in the barn one day and just talking to Martha. She came in and I'm just chit-chatting with her. This vehicle backs into the parking lot and it's blasting like some heavy metal music. I'm just kind of watching the surveillance video. The dude gets out and he's just screaming at the house and like doing the come at me thing. I'm just like, what's this guy doing? He karate kicks his car door shut, reaches in the back door and pulls out a bow staff like ninjas use. And he starts stomping to the barn. So I grab my 9mm, put it in my pocket. I go, Martha, lock the door. I go out front, tattoos all over his face. And this is pre-Post Malone, so it was still weird back then. And I walk out there. I'm like, what are you doing? I want a tour. I go, what's with the stick, man? I hurt my back. I needed to walk. I go, bro, I just seen you do the worst roundhouse I've ever seen in my life.
Right?
And he goes, I'm a Ninja Turtle. I'm like, what? He goes, I'm a Ninja Turtle. And I look down and he's got a Ninja Turtle mask like affixed to his belt. So in my head, I'm assessing this. I'm like, nobody's here right now. And if I say no, the dude's going to flip it the F out, obviously. Because he was probably like 50. I mean, burned his brain out on whatever back in the day.
You think?
Whatever drug. Yeah. It's like, I'm just going to take him in the house. Screw it. So I go in there. We walk in. There's somebody left a Ninja Turtle bouncy ball at the house, and it was sitting in the living room. And he screams, "Turtle power!" I'm like, dude, take the ball. He's like, no. I was like, take the ball. It's a sign.
Yeah, it was meant to be.
No, I couldn't do it. I go, if you don't take it, I'm just going to throw it away. Honestly, otherwise we'll be overrun with 1 million bouncy balls in this house. So then he faints because he's so happy, like he does the fake pass out. So when someone faints, 9 times out of 10, face plant. They go face down.
Yeah.
He did, and like back. And so he's laying on the floor, and I'm just staring at him like, dude, get up. I know you're not passed out. Runs out to his vehicle, comes back in with flip-flops, Ninja Turtle flip-flops with the tag still on them, like little kid ones. And he's throwing them in the rooms. He's like, here you go, little ghost dudes. And he was happy but he goes, he's like, is there anywhere to eat in town? I was like, yeah, TJ's. I'll let them know you're coming. So I go up there after work.
Pizza place?
No pizza place. So I go up there after work, and there's a little Ninja Turtle figurine on the cash register. It's like, the ninja. His name was Big Turtle. Was his name? I hope if you're listening, Big Turtle, I love you. You were one of my favorites.
He's a huge fan of the show. He watches every week.
I also had a guy. He comes in for a day tour. And he's probably in his 50s with his girlfriend. The whole time she's into it. He's complaining that he got her, or she got him out of his house from a 30-some hour gaming spree. I'm like, probably your mom's house, I'm guessing. And he had, of course, the leather, like the black trench coat on, but I could see he had something under his arm because he's not moving one arm and he's just kind of tensed up. So I'm like, okay, what's my move going to be when this dude like goes psycho? So I'm standing by an oil lamp in my head. I was going to hit him and do some Chuck Norris move again. And he goes, "Are there demons in this house?" I'm just like, "Nope." He goes, "Well, I got something for him." He goes for the reach in. I'm like, "Here we go. It's on."
Yeah.
Pulls out a plastic Toys R Us like sword, and he starts sword fighting the ghosts in the house. And I'm just like,
I'm going to hang out there.
You could write a book just about that.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm a master at keeping a straight face. I'm just like, I'll be out in the barn if you guys have any questions.
I don't know how you do it.
There was a show one time that called up, and they wanted to do a series on the Axe Murder House, but it was going to be like Pawn Stars, just our day-to-day business.
Okay.
And Martha's like, nope, because she's very protective. Like she doesn't want it to be stupid or hokey or anything. And I kind of wish that would have happened because it would have been hilarious. Some of the clientele that comes.
I mean, maybe you could just do a YouTube series.
I've thought about that, like just putting my phone in my pocket.
Right? No, it would be even better if you did horrible reenactments.
There we go. I could get with somebody that could do like animation, and I could just tell the story and have the animation.
Or Heisenberg can come and dress up like Turtle Man, Big Turtle.
I could do a roundhouse, I think. A bad one.
Roundhouse, kick the door closed.
It was so bad, dude fell down afterwards.
Yep, I can do
that. Reminds me of the Jedi Kid on YouTube.
There's another guy that came for like 3 years straight. We called him Vampire Hunter. He would pull up in this nice car, expensive car, blasting opera music loud. And he would get out and it was like leather pants with boots up to the knees, the white frilly pirate shirt, a cowboy hat with a skull on it. And he would just stand there and stare at the house for like an hour, get back in his car and leave. And he did this like every day. It's like, oh, Vampire Hunter's back. And he just blast his opera music. And one day, this was the last day I ever seen him. He walks in the house or into the barn. It's like, you want a tour? Says nothing. I'm not trying to talk to him. He's ignoring me. Buys a bumper sticker, puts the $3 down, walks out. He's shining it's like a brand new Corvette or something. It's like, dude, don't put that sticker on your Come on, man. Puts it on there. He looks at it and goes, double thumbs up to the car, and then left. And I've never seen him again.
Oh my God.
All I wanted was a bumper sticker for his vet, man.
I know.
He was just scouting the place, making sure it was the right sticker to the right place.
Who's got 2 thumbs and an awesome sticker on the Corvette? That guy.
Finger guns.
Oh my gosh.
That is
How do you not
nuts.
say anything?
I don't
Like
think
you never thought to walk up to him and be like, "Hey, what are you waiting for? What do you?"
I have this thing like when you go up to there's a big sign on the barn, tours start here. And then you walk in the barn, there's another sign that says go into office for tours. Very easily laid out. So I'll sit back there and people will just walk up to the barn and just stand there. So it's just my fun thing that I do. I don't go out there. I just wait and I listen. What do we do? I don't even know what to do. Ain't nobody anywhere. I ain't figure it out. And then somebody will say, oh, it says go to office for tour. And then you hear, hello. Yep. Back here.
Yep. In the office.
It's just my fun thing to entertain myself every day.
you gotta have fun.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to do more day tours at the seminary. I feel like that's where all the fun is.
Mm.
And people think ghost hunters are weird, like
general public. Whew.
Yeah, it sounds like they're way more weird.
And it's, what I love about it is I'll go through the spiel, let them walk around the house, have at it. And then they come out and it's like therapy session. Like they start spilling their guts to me about whatever that has nothing to do with the house. Like I'm one guy.
I broke up with my girlfriend today.
Yeah. I mean, I've had that. I've had a guy who lost his faith in religion, and he wanted to come here and find some glimpse of something to rekindle that. And I talked to him forever about my personal beliefs, and or somebody, a loved one died, and they just want to know if there's something after this. And that's what I love, is just connecting with people on that level.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's very cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a taboo subject. Not a lot of people talk about it, especially religious people. So if you want those kind of answers, you go to the Villisca Axe Murder House, not to church,
Yeah, it's an interesting place.
That's a really good point, Corey.
For sure. Dude, that's why I carry my 9mm with me everywhere. Because like in my head, I'm like, if somebody's going to do something stupid, this is a magnet.
Yeah.
Go to the Axe Murder House and do it,
Yeah. Right.
And there probably has been serial killer there, but I've luckily probably ran my mouth so much to him that he's just like, oh, forget it. I'm out of here.
Yeah, right.
I have different plans, but no, not tonight.
This guy will not stop talking.
He'll take Quacker's path.
Right.
Are you guys closed for the wintertime then? Because you said
we still do overnights, and they slow down. They're like weekends at this point, but like it's starting to all fill in again for summer, and we just do day tours from March to November. It just doesn't pay for me to sit down there on a Tuesday in February hoping someone comes.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So my winters are this.
Yeah.
Just do nothing, which I love. It's awesome. Greatest gig ever.
Yeah. Especially after October, because that's busy time, and you need a couple months off to recover from that. So
yeah, after like doing the same spiel 1,000 times a day, every single day. It's like the first month off, I don't even talk to anyone. My mouth doesn't. It's like I'm over it.
Can't say I blame you.
Yeah.
I do one night of tours at Madison, and I'm like, I'm good for a month. But we also live an hour away, so
and we have people to alternate. Do you do all the tours yourself?
A lot of times I try and get someone to work part-time during the summer. But man, this year it's looking like it's going to be me doing all of it, unless I can find someone to like fill in on some days or whatever.
Yeah.
We had a Christy girl that worked for us for a long time, Shelby. She was there a couple years, but she moved on, went to, bigger and better. And I'm just the guy that's still here. What else am I going to do at this point? Okay.
Right.
I had to fill out a resume. 20 years Axe Murder House. Nobody's going to.
You know what? I would hire you. I'd be like, all right.
Yeah, right.
Like I feel like I have to hire him.
So are you still affiliated with the Axe Murder House?
Right.
There are employee discounts.
Yeah. It's an interesting place for sure. For sure.
Yeah, I think we're definitely on the bucket list of places we need to get out to, for sure.
What I love is it gives me a lot of time to do other projects within the paranormal and stuff,
Yeah.
And like if I need to go to a convention or whatever, I'm just like, Martha, I'm going to be gone tomorrow. Okay. Right. There's no 2-week notice or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So speaking of that, do you have anything? What was that, Mike? I'm sorry.
I still kick myself for not going, even though it's been a terrible car ride. Like every once in a while, in my head, I'm like, why didn't I go?
Yeah.
See, I feel you, man, because I'm notorious with. I'll sign up for something like 2 months away, and for that 2 months, I'm just talking myself out of it in my head.
Oh yeah, yeah.
no, it's gonna be stupid. It's a long ride. I'd rather stay home, but then I'll end up going and having a blast.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I mean, there's a nights even as much as this show is like an outlet. It's like my thing. Just like you come home from work after a day and you're just thinking like an hour before, like, okay, how can I get out of this today?
Yeah. Exactly.
But no, I mean, I know as soon as that I hit that play button on the opening, I'm like, I'm all in.
Right.
It's like just energized, like ready to go.
Yeah.
There's been times
I have to plan things out like within a certain amount of time. Like you said, 2 months. You know, if you're thinking about it for 2 months, that's too long for me. Like I have to plan something like this week or next week because otherwise I'm going to talk myself out of it. So, don't ask me what I'm doing in May. Ask me what I'm doing next week, and then I'll make plans. But I can't do it. There's so much that could change from now until then. And it's probably just going to be my anxiety talking me out of it. So just next week is the cap. Don't ask me past that.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. Get me too far out, I'm going to talk my way out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, any projects or anything we work on or investigations we plan, like usually the weekend of, a couple hours before, I'm like, man, I'm so tired. Such a rough week. I don't really feel like driving 3 hours to get somewhere and try to stay awake all night and talk to dead people. I don't know. Yeah. But you love it, so you do it anyways. And like, but you hop in the car, you get your snacks, you're ready to go.
Once I get there, I'm super excited and I have a good time. But
my favorite is like after an investigation, that drive home at like whatever in the morning. It's like I love that moment where it's just like quiet and the stars are out and nobody's on the highway.
Yeah.
And then you're like, if a cop sees me, I guarantee they're going to think I'm drunk because
and
if I get pulled over, I get to do it's ghost hunting.
Right.
Yeah, he's drunk.
Yeah. He's drunk for sure.
Can you walk this line, please?
You'd be surprised. There's been some policemen that I've met at different locations that are pretty into it. We were I was filming with Resident Undead. They asked me to be part of when they filmed at the House of Wills in Cleveland, and we had an incident at the end of the night where we couldn't explain it. It seriously sounded like somebody was trying to break in, and we ended up calling the police in, and they're searching the whole building, and like then they start telling all these stories, like, you can't believe how many times we've been called in here because they thought they saw somebody breaking in, and or people were seeing through the windows and there's nobody here. We come in, there's nobody here. They're like talking about, oh man, this place is haunted. It's like I think one of the cops was like, do you mind if I take a walk around real quick and just like look at things? I'm like, I don't own the house, but I'm sure Eric would be fine with it.
I was doing a ghost hunt and I went out to take a break, and 2 sheriff trucks pull up. It's like, we got permission to be here. And it's an old mental home. And they go, no, we used to get calls to this place. We know what you guys are doing here. So they're telling us about all these prostitution rings that were run out of the mental home. And if they got a suicide call, they'd send a rookie in, but you'd have to send more than one because they'd come out of the rooms and jump on you and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Shit. And so I go, we have all our gear running. Would you guys go in and do a mock suicide call? They're like, yeah. So I'm in there with the uniformed officers. They're like, blah, 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 sheriff department, here for a suicide call, this and that. We go up to the 3rd floor, come back down. Nothing happened. We're just sitting there talking. A door, big, heavy door, opens and slams shut. The sheriff pushed me out of the way and ran out. And we all run out, and I'm like, dude, you got the gun? He goes, I can't see ghosts. Put me against a crackhead any day. So then their boss pulls up, and they're like, oh crap. They're like, come on, guys. And I told him what happened. I was like, this dude pushed me out of the way and ran out of there. And the big boss guy goes, well, take one of the recorders and go in there by yourself up to the 3rd floor and back down to redeem yourself. And the guy's like, I don't care, I'll do it, whatever. He goes in the front door shuts, door opens. He's like, screw it, I can't. Nope.
I love that the sheriffs were daring each other to do stuff.
Yeah. And somewhere on my Facebook page, if you go through the pictures, there's like a the green night vision shot of me and like two sheriff guys right next to me. Their faces are blurred out, but that was that moment. Like that was
really
awesome.
cool. Yeah, and it's amazing too, just talking to people. Like I always when I first started doing this, I was very reserved about it, and I didn't really tell anybody besides the people that were on my team. And obviously my wife and family knows about it, but just starting to share stories and being more comfortable talking about it in public to people you barely know. It's amazing, like the response that you get. Oh yeah, I grew up in this house, or I had this experience when I went to this building. I mean, I remember, I was taking college classes, and I'm like late 30s, right? Talking about ghost hunting in front of like all these college kids, as part of my introduction to public speaking class, and everybody's just like just glued, like staring at me, like talking. I'm like, this is kind of cool, And then like at the end, I only have like one picture that I show people of what I would consider like photographic evidence that I've caught. It was at Mansfield Prison, and I just put it up right at the end, big, like on my presentation. And then I'm like, and every once in a while you get lucky and you catch something that you think's a ghost, and boom, it comes up, and everybody's like, "Oh shit, no way!" Then I had a bunch of people come up to me after the class and like asking me questions like, "Where can we start doing this? Can you go to this place? Where have you been?" Like, all right, this is pretty cool. People are into it. It's much less taboo, but I think people still have a hard time like feeling comfortable working their way into that conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
But like I'm very like when I wear my dark alley like sweatshirt out, like I get stopped in the grocery store all the time.
Oh yeah,
awesome.
Yeah. Are you part of the paranormal? Is that real, or is that you just get that? You know what I mean? Like, did I just buy that off some rack or something?
I was walking into a gas station in this small town, and out front of the gas station is all these hog farmers, like congregating with their coffee right in front of the door, chit chatting about farming, and I kind of weasel my way through, and I hear, "Saw you on TV, boy." Right then, it was like banjos. Like my butt cheeks clenched. Like, oh my gosh! And it was big dude walks up, bib overalls, and looks at me and goes, "Pretty cool." I'm like, "Whew."
Nice.
Thank you.
That could have gone a different way.
Yeah.
It comes from everywhere.
We had
yeah.
it's amazing how you said it comes from everywhere.
Yeah. I was at a gas station filling up, and it was a weird gas station, man. It was down in New Kimballton. We were doing an event at the Bell Nursing Home. It was at BP right off the freeway. And I go in there, and it's just like where the old guys hang out. You got the old guy running the cash register. You got two old guys in their chairs sitting next to you, just like staring at you as you walk in. You're out there, you're feeling already awkward because everybody's looking at you. And he happened to see my shirt. He's like, "Oh, you here for the old nursing home down the street?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, I used to work there." And then he started telling me all kinds of ghost stories. He's like, I had to freaking quit a couple times because I'd be in there at night doing some work and something would happen and scare the shit out of me and I have to leave.
Awesome.
But like, he called him Boomhauser as she left. Like,
yeah, he talked like, "Man, what's happening, man?" You know what I
mean? As soon as I heard the boy, I was like, "Oh boy,
yeah,
it's not good."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, a woman at Dollar General one time was telling me how the Dollar General was haunted.
Really?
Like, you just built this place, but I mean,
notoriously haunted.
Doesn't matter. Like you said earlier, ghosts can move around.
Yeah.
Maybe they need some batteries. You don't know.
Exactly.
Nobody's getting over and investigating it all, so I need to get my own batteries.
Yeah.
Right.
So we got like about 5 minutes left. Is there anything you'd like to promote? Any kind of event coming out or anything you're getting into besides?
Go to check out G Crew. Pimp my old little podcast there. Just G Crew on Google, whatever. I don't even know what events I got going on.
Figure it out.
It's like I had a bunch lined up for 2019, and then all of them got canceled.
Yeah.
But now some of them are happening again at other days. I don't even know.
Yeah,
I have no idea. I know Texas Paracon, G Crew will be there.
Yeah.
I got invited to one in England I really want to go to.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
HauntAcon in Omaha.
Nice.
I don't have the dates. I have no idea. And who even knows if it's going to happen?
That's what
Yeah, I know.
Google's for.
That's the hardest thing. It's like you want to get involved and do these events, but everybody's already publicizing them, and they're like, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
right.
Especially ones that are coming up in the next month or so. Like, I can't buy into it yet. I'm not super thrilled about wearing masks. I mean, I do, but I try to avoid situations where I have to wear them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't remember the last time I walked into a grocery store and did like a full grocery trip.
Yeah.
And that's what the curbside pickup is for.
I got some filming stuff
Cool.
happening that I'll be able to talk about next time. But I'm happy that networks are filming again. There's a lot of protocols and a lot of stipulations on it, but things are starting to happen again. Shows are starting to be filmed again, which is awesome. Like I can get back in the saddle on that. But as far as events, you got me. So anybody that's doing an event that I'm at, please message me and let me know if I'm supposed to be there. I don't know.
Before you said where's Anna, she would know.
Yeah. Anna's on top of it.
Where would people keep up on the goings on at the Villisca Axe Murder House?
The Axe Murder House has a Facebook page that I never check. So. The best bet would just be my main page. Like if anything's going on, I'll try and update that. Just Johnny Hauser on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. It's just / Johnny Hauser. So
cool.
TikTok, I'm becoming quite the TikTok star. So,
oh yeah.
Well,
nice.
I started it just to make fun of my daughter because she's always walking around doing all these moves. So so I'm like, I'm going to start a TikTok and I'm going to make you mad because I'm going to get more followers than you. And she's like, no, you're not. So my TikTok is Johnny Hauser, dad of Grace Hauser. Nice. And I just do stupid stuff to really embarrass her on
it. That's excellent parenting.
Yeah,
it is. Exactly.
It builds character.
If I can humiliate her, that's going to be so fun. That's what parents are supposed to do, right?
Right?
Yes.
I feel like it balances out because you're also like run the Villisca Axe Murder House and she likes that kind of stuff. So, life is about balance.
Yeah, and she always wants me, her page, she always wants me to do TikToks with her, which I'll never divulge the name of that page because it's me doing these dance moves. And I don't know if you've seen me, but not much of a dancer per se. Tokyo,
that's the best, though.
Wow. Hello, Irene.
Wow. That's awesome.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, we get a lot of awesome countries watching the show every once in a while. It's really cool to see. Thank you for joining the show. We're international.
Nice.
Our tens of fans all over the globe.
We have about 5.
Yeah, right. Unfortunately, Irene, you kind of caught us right at the end of the show, but you could catch it again. It'll be replaying on Facebook for a while, I'm sure. But I'm the only paranormal group here. World of Ghosts. And it's interesting to know.
Yeah.
I definitely, just from my short one semester of Japanese culture that I had in college, I thought you guys, I just assumed that people, maybe it's because it's just spirits are a part of their normal life. That's part of their normal, belief system. So I guess it's possible. I guess I just kind of talked myself into the sense of that.
I love meeting people from other countries and talking about their country's belief on ghosts.
Yeah.
And like, as far as like everybody I've talked to, like America's the only one where it's kind of taboo. A lot of people are like, yeah, it's just kind of normal, not so much in the cities, but in the smaller villages, they're very into talking to spirits and but I'm sure they're out there with a K2 meter going, give me a sign of your presence.
My boss was from India and he told me that if you see a spirit in his culture, if you see a spirit, that means your family members are coming to get you because you're going to die soon. So they would never purposely see a spirit. You know what I mean? They would never he thought I was crazy for doing that. Like it was like a death sentence. You know, you don't want to see a spirit because then that means you're going to die.
Wow. See, I talked to a African American gentleman, probably 80 years old, and he grew up in Mississippi. And he's talking about, oh, there's ghosts all over Mississippi. But then he started talking about seeing Muddy Waters play in a bar when he was a kid. And then he started talking about as a kid not going into certain places because of the Klan. And it's like, dude, I want to listen to your stories. I don't want to talk about those. You are a living history book that I want to have everything. You know?
That's very cool.
Pretty amazing. Well, unfortunately, crypto heads, it's that time of night where we got to sign off and say goodbye. John, thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Hey, thanks for
amazing, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, anytime.
We'll do it again. We'll wait for your filming projects to come out. And I always have the knack of getting people on right before they go into filming something. So it's like you could talk about the fact that you're filming, but you can't talk about what you're filming.
Yep.
So it's a good segue into like, hey, be on the show again. When whatever project you're working on,
you can actually talk.
I'm trying to trip people up, but it hasn't worked yet.
And definitely let us know if you find the forks, because now I'm invested in that story.
I may have to look. You will be the first to know. I'll come on this show, and maybe we can do like a live Geraldo in Al Capone's tunnel.
Yes,
that'd be sweet. Yeah, definitely, man.
It'll be a big build up, and I'll go up there at the end of 2 hours and nothing.
Right. I'm down.
Yeah.
Hey, whatever.
Nothing up there. I think that would be a great.
Yeah.
We're down. It's live stream gold. We'll do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, crypto heads. That is another episode of the Cryptic Paranormal Show. For those of you just tuning in, Irene, thank you so much for following us for all the way from Tokyo. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Brian, sorry you missed it, but you know, like 5 minutes from now, it'll be playing all over Facebook again. So you didn't miss anything, man, but definitely catch it because Johnny Hauser was an amazing guest tonight. Really fun, really good interview. So thank you so much, sir. Wish nothing but the best of luck with the Velisca House. You guys are doing amazing work out there.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. You guys are...
Oh, dang it.
Did you just put him off?
No, I didn't. I haven't touched the screen.
Okay.
I think you just...
He was messing with us, man. He was going to tell us that we're great and awesome. So, like... To choose your own adventure, he stopped us for Mad Libs.
No, he was about to be like, you guys are a bunch of assholes. I'm never coming back on this show again. He was like, maybe I shouldn't.
Well, Johnny, if you're still listening, thank you for being on, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Crypto heads, it's been real. You guys have a good weekend, and we will spook you next week. Oh, show announcement. Next week, we got Brian Murray and Rochelle. What is her last name? Why can't I remember her last name? Brian and Rochelle from Ghost Hunters. What's that?
It's next week already? Holy cow.
Yeah, it's next week.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, he totally did it on purpose.
What's that?
He totally did it on purpose. Look at Hannah's comment.
Nice.
Oh, well. We've been honored.
Right?
All right. Well, anyways, we got Brian Murray and Rochelle from Ghost Hunters coming on next week, so it'll be an interesting show. We had Brian on before. This time we get an added bonus of having Rochelle on the adventure team. Two of our favorite people from the show. We will spook you later, crypto heads. Have a good weekend. Denise, love you. Michael, love you. See you guys next week.
Don't be an asshole.
Don't be an asshole. That's right. That's our motto. End of every show. Don't be an asshole. Love each other.
Bye, guys.
We'll spook you later.
Bye.